Check mic. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Testing, 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 testing. Okay, testing, testing. Okay.
Check 1, 2, 2. Mic check here 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check here. Cubaan suara 1, 2, 3. Mic check here 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 he 1, 2, 2. 1, 2.
tes.
Cuba suara 1, 2, 3, mic check, here 1, 2, 2, ha. Check 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Cubaan suara 1, 2, 3, mic check, here 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. 4, hey 1, 2, 2. Cubaan suara 1, 2, 3, mic check, here 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, hey. Cubaan suara 1, 2, 3, mic check, here 1, 2, 3, 4. Cubaan suara 1, 2, 3, mic check, here 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Cubaan suara 1, 2, 3, mic check, hey 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Cubaan suara 1, 2, 3. Mic check here 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Cubaan suara 1, 2, 3. Mic check here 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Hey. Okay.
One.
Good. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this press conference. I have with me the Secretary General of the United Nations. He will first deliver some remarks, and then we will open the floor for questions. Secretary General, you have the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, Selamat Petang. It is an honor to visit Malaysia and to participate in the 15th ASEAN UN Summit. I thank the government and people of Malaysia for their generous welcome, and I welcome the accession of ASEAN's newest member, Timor-Leste. One of the highlights of my political life was being present in 2002 when it achieved independence. The country and its people, inspiring journey to democracy, will always hold a special place in my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, in a world of turmoil, Southeast Asia offers a vision of hope. Its economies boost global growth. Its people draw strength from diversity. Its leadership contributes to global peace and stability. ASEAN member states' contribution to 4,500 peacekeepers is just one inspiring example. And ASEAN is a close partner of the United Nations, as seen in our joint work on youth and women's empowerment, combating transnational crime, protection of human rights, inclusive and sustainable growth, and so much more. But global challenges weigh heavily on the region. Deepening inequalities, rising temperatures, runaway technologies, and entrenched conflicts, they all exact a toll. This ASEAN UN Summit is about solutions to these challenges. First, we need solutions for development. With just 5 years to go, our blueprint for the future, the Sustainable Development Goals, is falling short. Developing countries are not getting the level of support they need to build and strengthen the systems people require. The root of the problem is an outdated and unfair global financial system. The global financial architecture must be reformed so it better represents today's world and the needs of developing countries. Across the board, global governance must become more inclusive, representative, equitable, and effective. And this means giving developing countries stronger participation in global financial institutions, including ASEAN member states. If you compare what the ASEAN economies today represent in the world, the share they represent with the shares they have in international financial institutions, there is clearly an obvious injustice. We need also to triple the lending capacity of multilateral development banks and to ease debt burdens with new instruments that reduce borrowing costs and risks and speed up support for countries facing debt distress. Second, we need solutions for climate action. The 1.5-degree limit is on life support. We are already paying the consequences of inaction. Every fraction of a degree matters. The stakes are perilously high for Southeast Asia, where climbing temperatures, rising sea levels, and worsening storms threaten lives, livelihoods, and entire communities and countries. Next week, leaders will gather in Brazil for COP30. By then, all countries must put forward ambitious economic-wide national climate plans that cut emissions, including by speeding up the transition to renewables. Renewable energy is now faster to build and cheaper to run than fossil fuels. The fossil fuel age is coming to an end. And when the transition is managed fairly, renewables boost growth, create jobs, and build resilient economies that are less exposed to volatile fossil fuel markets. The Just Energy Transition Partnerships, pioneered in Indonesia and Vietnam, show how fairness and ambition can go hand in hand to power a better future. G20 countries that represent 80% of the emissions must lead the transition. They must lead, but all countries must do more, in line with the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities. In Belém, in Brazil, leaders must agree on a credible plan to close the gap to 1.5 degrees and mobilize $1.3 trillion annually in climate finance by 2035 for developing countries. And developed countries must live up to their commitments by doubling finance for adaptation to at least $40 billion this year and capitalizing the Loss and Damage Fund with significant contributions. Third, we need solutions for digital transformation. With the right guardrails in place, we can ensure that breakthroughs in groundbreaking technologies like artificial intelligence accelerate sustainable development and inclusion. Last month, we launched the Global Dialogue on AI Governance in the UN. It aims for a digital future that is safe, open and inclusive, with AI systems grounded in international law, human rights and effective oversight. I've also asked for candidates from all regions and disciplines for the UN-based International Independent Scientific Panel on AI. This group of 40 experts will regularly provide independent insights into the opportunities, risks and impacts associated with the AI. I've also proposed the creation of a global fund for AI, supported by a network of regional and national AI centers to help countries build the skills, infrastructure and institutional capacity needed to harness AI responsibly. Together, these three pillars, the panel, the dialogue and capacity building, are an important contribution to a new global architecture for governing AI. We must also tackle transnational organized crime, especially cyber trafficking and scam centers. I was just in Hanoi for the signing of the Cybercrime Convention, a new global treaty to protect people in the digital world. And I welcome ASEAN's support in ratifying and implementing this landmark accord. Finally and urgently, we need solutions for peace. I commend ASEAN's efforts to ease tensions in the South China Sea by accelerating negotiations on the Code of Conduct. And I applaud Malaysia's role in facilitating a ceasefire between Cambodia and Thailand, pointing the way to the peaceful settlement of the dispute. But I am appalled by the deplorable situation in Myanmar. The military takeover in 2021 has piled calamity upon calamity. Villages bombed or burned, thousands killed, millions displaced, regional stability at risk. A military attacking the civilians it's meant to protect. And now the spectre of elections within an active conflict. The atrocities and the cycle of impunity must end. I reiterate my call for an immediate end to the violence, a genuine commitment to inclusive dialogue, and a credible path back to civilian rule, starting with the swift release of all those arbitrarily detained. The United Nations fully supports the ASEAN 5-point consensus, and I welcome strengthened cooperation between my Special Envoy, Julie Bishop, with the ASEAN counterparts. And I applaud ASEAN's commitment to providing humanitarian assistance to the people of Myanmar. The way forward must lead to a restoration of democracy, institutions anchored in the rule of law and human rights. Guarantee safety, justice and opportunity for all, and address the root causes of persecution, disenfranchisement and conflict. Crucially, it must include the Rohingya people. They have waited too long for peace, too long for democracy, too long for the world's solidarity. Last month's high-level conference in New York brought renewed expressions of support for Rohingya and host communities and renewed interest in finding solutions. I call on all sides to set aside political agendas, prioritize the rights of the people of Myanmar, uphold international law, protect civilians, and allow unhindered humanitarian access. It's time to open humanitarian channels, end the violence, and facilitate a comprehensive political solution. The people of Myanmar are counting on our collective support. Let's deliver it. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, across these challenges, ASEAN can light the way forward. The United Nations is proud to be ASEAN's partner as we work to ensure a better, more peaceful future for people across the region and around the world, and I thank you.
Thank you. We will now open the floor for questions. Let me start with South China Morning Post. Wait for the microphone.
Hello. Great.
Got it.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Guterres. Joseph Sipalan from the South China Morning Post. Just following up on the point you raised on Myanmar. As you mentioned, they're planning to hold an election in December, which will likely exclude more than half of the country and tens of millions of voters who are in conflict areas. What is the UN's position on it, and what would you suggest ASEAN do? Would you suggest that they do what they can to stop the elections until Myanmar meets the 5-point consensus? Thank you.
I don't think anybody believes that those elections will be free and fair. I don't think anybody believes those elections will contribute to the solution of the problems of Myanmar. I think this is the moment in which we need to increase humanitarian assistance, to stop the violence, and at the same time to pave the way for a political evolution leading to civilian rule and to respect for a constitutional form of government.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm Gao Mian from Phoenix TV, and I have two questions. First is China and the United States hold their first economic and trade talks in Kuala Lumpur during the summit.
Just repeat, just go slowly.
China and the United States held their first trade talks in Kuala Lumpur during the summits. And this is the first time their talks on trade in Asia country. And yesterday it reached some consensus. So what's its significance for stabilizing the global economy? And how do you view the United States add tariffs to global countries? And the second question is about the United Nations. You proposed cutting 18.8% of staff in 2026 to tackle the financial crisis of United Nations. So will this weaken the United Nations capability, and how to avoid cost cutting leading to incapacity? Thank you.
So U.S. the first question. U.S.-China trade talks. The U.S.-China trade talks, and how good, what's your reaction to tariffs and to the tariffs and how tariffs go?
I am a strong defender of free and fair trade. Trade wars do not benefit anybody. Nobody wins with trade wars. And I think that the present restrictions on trade are having a negative impact in the global economy and a negative impact essentially on developing countries. So I hope that any trade negotiation that takes place is successful and contributes to establish a regime in which trade is a facilitator of development instead of an obstacle to development. The second question, we are not reforming the UN because of the liquidity crisis. That is largely due to the reduction of payments from one main contributor, the United States. What we are doing is recognizing that we can improve, that we can be more efficient, more cost-effective, more able to provide in full respect of our mandates to the people we care for in a more efficient way. We are doing a number of reforms, making the organization leaner but more effective. And that is the reason why there will be a number of reduction of positions in the Secretariat, but not the same everywhere. And in particular, everything that relates to support to developing countries on the field in order for them to be able to overcome the present difficulties, will not be reduced, on the contrary, will be increased.
Okay, let me
Mr.
go
Guterres,
to
I'm Hasif.
AFP.
Hi, Mr. Guterres. Isabel from AFP. Do you have any updates on Sudan's al-Fashir after paramilitary RSF claimed to have taken control of the city?
This represents a terrible escalation in the conflict, and I think it's high time for the international community to tell clearly to all countries that are interfering in this war and that are providing weapons to the parties to the war to stop doing that. Because the level of suffering that we are witnessing in Sudan is unbearable, and it is clear that we have not only a Sudanese problem with an army and the rapid support forces fighting each other, we have more and more an external interference that undermines the possibility to a ceasefire and to a political solution of the problem.
Mr. Guterres, I'm Hasif from Utusan Malaysia.
Okay.
I'm referring to your earlier remarks on the situation in Myanmar and the call for free and fair elections.
Sorry, we can't. I'm going to take your question, but speak a little bit slower and put the microphone a little bit away from your mouth and reintroduce yourself, okay?
Okay, so sorry, quite nervous. All right, my name is Hasif Idris. I am from Utusan Malaysia. Referring to your earlier remarks on the situation in Myanmar and the call for free and fair elections, so may I ask, how long will the United Nations continue to only urge or call for action? And when we want to hear concrete measures be taken to ensure accountability and real progress? Thank you, sir.
Can you repeat the question? I'm so sorry, we did not understand just the last bit of the question. It was very hard for us to understand.
Sorry, so my question is, when will the UN saying or give a concrete measures be taken to ensure accountability and real progress? I mean that maybe beforehand we only heard about we urge. So who will be responsible for the action? Is it ASEAN, or how can UN influence ASEAN to take action to the Myanmar? They are suffering now and a lot of issues in Myanmar.
What can we do to promote accountability and real progress in Myanmar?
Well, the Human Rights Council has just decided the creation of a mechanism of investigation in relation to Myanmar, and I believe this can become an important instrument of accountability.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Shanghai Media Group.
Mr. Secretary General, it's good to have you here again because we last met in Shanghai. I'm from Shanghai Media Group. This is a question about economy. Okay, so ASEAN has made very good progress in fostering the regional economy, and everybody can see that through initiatives like RCEP, right? But however, challenges remain, especially those agreements, how to translate these agreements into such tangible benefits for all citizens. So from your perspective, what can we do?
What agreements are you referring to?
What
agreements are you referring to?
Those initiatives like RCEP, something like that. Those RCEP, RCEP.
ASEAN.
Yes. RCEP, okay? So what's your point of view? What can we do to ensure that free trade truly contributes to the people's daily life, to the citizens in this area? Thank you.
I think that agreements that improve trade, that improve economic cooperation are always positive. But let's have no illusions. There will only be justice and equity. And there will always be the chance for developing countries to be able to overcome the present difficulties if there is an in-depth reform of international financial institutions. it is absolutely essential to have in the organizations that run the global finance, the Bretton Woods system, other international similar institutions, it's absolutely essential that there is a participation of the developing countries that is much bigger, that the voice of developing countries is much more strongly heard in the decision-making processes, and that much more resources are made available for debt relief, for concessional funding, and for all the other requirements without which it will be very difficult for developing countries to overcome the present difficulties, even if they establish good agreements with this or that country in different areas of the economic activity.
Very good. Russia today? Wait for the microphone, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Guterres. Bom dia. I am a reporter from RT China. So as Russia and China expand their roles within BRICS and strengthen their ties with ASEAN, how can the UN cooperate with this emerging center of influence to build a more balanced and inclusive security architecture in the Asia-Pacific region? Thank you.
So multipolarity.
I believe that we will only have effective multilateralism when we will have effective multipolarity in the world. I am totally against the world in which superpowers have a dominant role. We need a world in which international law prevails, in which the values of the Charter prevail, and the only way to guarantee it is through more equilibrium in international relations, which means with a true multipolarity that facilitates multilateralism. And I see ASEAN as a very important element in this re-equilibrium in international relations. I believe it's essential to have different countries and groups of countries networking in different aspects of economic and political dimensions and creating with this network a factor of equilibrium that doesn't allow for any abuse of power of any superpower or for a division, a geopolitical division of the world into two parts like it happened in the Cold War. I believe we need harmony, and harmony comes from equilibrium. We need a world in which there is more equilibrium in power, and for that we need to promote a multipolar world, and that multipolarity requires poles, and one of them can be ASEAN.
We will take one final question from a local media, Bernama.
Hi, I'm Vignesh from Bernama. So, Malaysia earlier expressed interest to join the Gaza peacekeeping mission. I think yesterday the Prime Minister told about it, the interest in Gaza peacekeeping mission from Malaysia. So, what will be the mechanism and what kind of role do you think Malaysia can play? And my second question is also from Malaysia. There is a call to reform UN, including the abolition or limitation of veto power. What's your take on that?
First of all, in relation to Gaza, I would like to express my appreciation for what has been the constant, coherent policy of foreign policy of Malaysia that has no double standards and that has been strongly advocating for the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination and statehood. It is not yet clear what kind of force, in what circumstances will be created. What is important now is to make sure that the ceasefire holds, that the phase one of the agreement is fully implemented, and the UN is ready to play whatever role the key actors involved in this process will determine. The second question.
On reform of the Security Council and the veto.
It is clear the Security Council has a problem of legitimacy and a problem of effectiveness. Legitimacy because its composition no longer corresponds to the reality of today's world. We have 3 European permanent members in the Security Council. We have France, the UK and Russia. And we have 1 Asian member, no member from Latin America, no member from Africa. This shows that the Security Council doesn't correspond at all to the world of today. That is why it's so important to have an African representation, have 2 permanent members. That's also important to have an increase in the permanent representatives from Asia. Second, there is a problem of effectiveness, and the main element that complicates the effectiveness is indeed the veto power. 2 of the countries, England and France, the UK and France, have presented the proposal to limit the veto power in a certain number of circumstances, and I think it would be very interesting if the members of the Council would seriously consider those proposals.
Thank you very much, Secretary General. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you.